What if you were given a superpower, incredible strength that no one else on Earth had, but you slowly lost it all because of your own bad choices? This is the powerful and tragic story of Samson. He was a man chosen by God before he was even born, a warrior with unmatched power, and a cautionary tale about pride, temptation, and ultimately, redemption. Samson's story begins during a dark time for the people of Israel. They were oppressed by the Philistines, a powerful and cruel enemy. Before Samson was even conceived, an angel appeared to his mother with an astonishing message. Her son would be dedicated to God from birth, set apart to begin freeing Israel from its enemies. This sacred promise came with specific rules. Samson was never to cut his hair, drink alcohol, or touch anything considered unclean. This vow was a physical sign that his life and his strength belonged entirely to God. As Samson grew, it became obvious he was no ordinary man. God had gifted him with supernatural strength. One day, a young lion attacked him, and he ripped it apart with his bare hands as if it were nothing. On another occasion, he single-handedly defeated an entire army of Philistines using only the jawbone of a donkey. When the Spirit of God came upon him, he was an unstoppable force. But here's the twist. While Samson was a giant on the outside, he was weak on the inside. He consistently ignored God's guidance and followed his own desires, especially when it came to women. He was repeatedly drawn to Philistine women, the very people oppressing his nation. He ignored wise advice from his parents and trusted his own reckless instincts. This pattern of behavior defined his life. He'd get into trouble, God would grant him the strength to get out of it, and then he'd dive right back into his old ways, instead of being a humble and wise leader for Israel. Samson often acted alone, driven by his emotions, his anger, and his pride. His life was a cycle of incredible victories followed by foolish personal decisions. Eventually, the cycle led him to a woman named Delilah. Samson fell deeply in love with her, but the Philistine ruler saw an opportunity. They went to Delilah and offered her a fortune if she could uncover the secret to Samson's strength. At first, Samson played games with her. He gave her 3 false answers, and each time he easily broke free from the trap she set. But Delilah was persistent. Day after day, she wore him down, questioning his love for her until, exhausted and defeated, he finally caved. He told her everything. His strength wasn't in his muscles. It was tied to the sacred vow he made to God, symbolized by his uncut hair. If it were cut, his strength would leave him. That night, as Samson slept in her lap, Delilah called in a man to shave his head. When the Philistines stormed in, Samson awoke, expecting to fight him off as he always had. But this time was different. He was just an ordinary man. His strength was gone. The Philistines captured him, gouged out his eyes, and forced him to grind grain in a prison. The strongest man on earth was now blind, broken, and helpless. But the story doesn't end there. In the darkness of that prison, something began to change. Samson's hair slowly started to grow back. More importantly, his heart began to turn back to God. Stripped of his pride and his power, he finally became humble. He prayed not for fame or revenge, but for one last chance. The Philistines decided to hold a massive celebration in their temple to honor their God for delivering Samson into their hands. They brought him out to be the main event, a source of entertainment and mockery for the thousands of people gathered, as they chained him between the 2 central pillars that supported the entire temple roof. Samson prayed his final, desperate prayer. He asked God to remember him and to give him strength just one more time. Then, with a final, monumental effort, he pushed against the pillars with all his might. The great stone columns cracked and then crumbled. The entire temple came crashing down, killing Samson and everyone inside. In that one final act, Samson defeated more of Israel's enemies than he had in his entire tumultuous life. Samson's story is a powerful reminder that our gifts and talents mean nothing without character and discipline. Pride can blind us and lead to our own destruction. But it's also a story of incredible grace. It shows us that no matter how far we fall, it's never too late to turn back. True, lasting strength doesn't come from our own abilities, but from a humble and obedient heart. Thanks for watching.